Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Welcome back to another video. And as you can see, we got the truck pulled out of the shop. The reason for pulling it out is because we're going to do a little bit of test driving, some before and after driving, because today we're finally going to tune the truck. Last time y'all saw the truck run was up there at Texas Truck Jams. Made 288 horsepower on factory tuning. So nothing special there, 548 foot-pounds of torque. But we have had the quad for a while. TJ Frey from One Bad VP44 has wrote some tunes for us. We actually have 5 of them. We have economy, daily, tow, street, and race, which race is basically your max effort tune. So this is the one that if we had to put it on the dyno again, we would select. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna get a little bit of RPM shots where we see the turbo light where you can hear it. I don't have any boost gauges or EGT gauges hooked up, so we're just gonna have basically a butt dyno. All of these are gonna be back-to-back runs because we're gonna tune it tonight, hop back in the truck, see what kind of difference it makes. Not gonna say the truck is sluggish right now, but after adding the bed and some couple bags of concrete to get the springs to settle, the leaf springs, you can definitely tell that it needs some tuning. So just to remind y'all, the setup on the truck right now, we'll just start from the fuel side, is a AirDog 5G 165, which is just supplying your low pressure fuel. We have a standard output VP44. We have Flux 7x11 200 horsepower injectors. And then we have our 63, 68, 14 turbo, which all in all is a recipe for 500 horsepower. But with factory tuning, we are well shy of that. So what we want to do is install these tunes and see how much difference that makes. I'm not going to say that we're going to hit 500 by just installing tunes. Obviously, it's going to need some revisions, check boost leaks, things of that nature. We don't really have anything monitoring the truck right now. But yeah, so that's the build we're going with. Those are the parts that the tuning is going to be applied to, and I'm very curious to see what happens. So let's go ahead and go on a test drive real quick, and we'll do a couple of action shots. We'll get back down there in the shop. We will load up the tunes, make sure everything's good to go, and then the moment we've all been waiting for, let's see the difference. So stay tuned for this video and let's get to work. All right guys, so this is test driving before we tune it. Right now we're just gonna do a rip down the road, and then from there, we'll do another drive-by, call it good, go down the shop and tune it. Alright, so we're gonna do third gear. It's in second right now. I'm gonna shift up to third. It's gonna be full throttle run. We're gonna see when boost kicks in. You can kind of see and hear the engine where it kicks in at. So around, I'd say 2300, so not much of a power band. So we're gonna see if the tuning can bring that up a little bit in the RPM range. All right guys, so we're back in the shop. Hopefully that was some good footage of how the truck is running right now. Obviously it makes a lot of noise. It doesn't look like it's going very fast, smokes a lot, but the engine's hot. So we're gonna have to kind of work around that because I do want to get this knocked out tonight. But she runs good. There's no oil leaks, no blow by, anything like that. So can't really ask for much more than that. So I'm gonna come over here to the Quadzilla itself, kind of go over what we have and also what we are not gonna use because this has a lot of parameters that I plan on running a different monitoring system other than the quad. But here's the unit itself that does all the tuning. Here's your plug. So this is what kind of sits on top of your fuse box. We'll take that out. And then here is all your wires. I've already kind of gone through this, marked which ones we are not going to use in green electrical tape, and explain that process here in a second. All right, so I got it kind of lined out, and we're just going to start from, this is the plug that goes into the box. It's like 32 pin plug or something like that. So that's your main one. And then if you just want to trace outside here, then let's go ahead and start with this bigger one. This is the iQuad to connect up to whatever device you have to run the tunes, to set the tunes. this is your power cable going to the hot side of your battery. And then here, what you see taped up, and obviously I mentioned that in green we're not going to be using, is your fuel pressure right here. And then this is EGT. So yeah, here's that EGT probe right here that connects into the harness. Not going to be using that as well, because like I said, everything that we're not using, we actually have analog gauges that go on the pillar of the truck that are going to run our fuel pressure from our VP44, EGT, and then also boost pressure. So we'll just have to wire tuck that somewhere. And then this right here is your fuse tap. So basically this is going to tap into a fuse that turns on with key on power, so your ignition fuse. And that's what's going to give signal to the box to actually turn it on itself. And then keep on working through the harness. It kind of is split right here. You kind of have a natural split in the wiring. So moving on to these two that are spliced together, this is obviously your ground. Going into this side of the harness, here is your map sensor. Mine is an O2 truck, so you'll use O2 plugs, which are gray. We did get another map harness, which this is for your 90, 8.5 to 2000. I believe 2001 as well, but we won't utilize that. And then looking further into this, this is your tap for your VP44. And then this is your data link, which is a plugged harness down there kind of near your ECM. So I'll show you where that goes. And then this right here is something else that we're not going to be using, which is oil temp sensor, which basically goes into your oil filter housing. We're not going to utilize that as well. So really, it's going to be a pretty quick install. I think the hardest part is just going to be running this through the cab, but everything else pretty simple, because we're not having to tap and do an EGT gauge or fuel pressure gauge or anything like that. We're just plug and playing, and then we're going to run this through the cab. So we're going to go ahead and start laying this out, plugging up everything, then get our Android device and see if we can't get some power to this and connect up to the box and the iQuad. All right, so getting up underneath the dash, we were able to run it through. If you can see, kind of see there's your gap to run it through, and then got that pulled out. We're just gonna go ahead and push this in like that. All right, and then we'll pull the slack back out that direction, and then zip tie everything that we have down below. All right, so that was pretty easy on the inside. All right, guys, so taking a look down in here, just to get you a better view of the map plugs. All right, so here's a better view of it. You can actually see down in here. So map sensor, and then the other side actually goes into the factory wiring harness right here. And then it just pigtails back into your quad wiring. Moving down below, you can see right here, this is the data link, which is not utilized by factory. It just has a plug in it, but you want to take that plug out, and you want to take your wiring from the quad box and plug it in, and that will be that. It's right here next to your plug that goes into your ECM, which this is pretty easy to see on this setup, because looking at it, I don't have a factory fuel canister to work with, so it's pretty open and easy to get to. But if you do have the factory fuel canister, you just have to kind of reach up underneath there, find all the plugs, and then just kind of work around that if you have it. But for this setup, it's pretty easy, so we're good to go on both those plugs. Now it's time to butt connect the VP44 tap wire. All right, as you can see, we got that butt connected. Looks good. I'll heat shrink it here in a little bit, but we're going to turn the key on and make sure that we have voltage running through our plug, so we got a good connection. All right, keys on. All right, and just to make sure, it's the very top right one up here, and then I had to de-strand some electrical wire so I can get something small enough to probe in there, and then you just touch right here, and you see that we got 12.48, and we're grounded to the battery. So that is butt connected successfully. We'll heat shrink it and call it good. Next up, ground, which we do have the stud top battery, so it's gonna be super easy. We just go ahead and flip that one over, and then same thing with the hot side. All right, so now since we have everything hooked up, and we got hot side battery hooked up, ground side battery hooked up, Everything else we're going to be utilizing: in cab to ignition, tap the fuse in the fuse panel. We got our iQuad hooked up into the wiring. We got the data link, map sensor, VP44, all good to go. And that's the only thing we're going to utilize. You can see everything else we're not using is down there in this jumble mess of wiring. So we're going to figure that out. Just to get the tuner hooked up and everything, we're not going to worry about that. Next step is just to plug it in. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and get the tablet I bought for this, and we're going to hook up to this once we get it plugged in. All right, so here's our tablet. We'll go ahead and open the iQuad app. Here it is. It's going to say it's going to scan for stuff, We'll want to close that out. But I'll set this in the truck. We'll get everything hooked up and see if we can't find it. You do have to connect this up to a hotspot or Wi-Fi. I got a hotspot on my phone. Should be good enough to go ahead and connect it, and then we'll go from there. All right, everything is good to go. This is hooked up, that's hooked up. Doesn't really give you indication that power is running to it until we can look at the tablet in the cab. But essentially that's it, not too bad. Then we have to manually install our tunes, but I'll show you how to do that in the next step. All right, so we're connected up there. Here's the iQuad app. I guess I'm gonna turn on the key first. All right, there it is. I'm gonna open this. It's gonna say scan. Let's scan. All right, so I had to go into the settings, which is up in the top left off that screen that you just saw. Hit the back button, hit the back button again. So I went here, I went up to settings, and then it looks like it's connected. Let's go to vehicle selection. It's gonna say loading. So we want this one. It says choosing a new vehicle profile will clear sensors you have. That's fine. Sorry for the blurriness on the camera. We want to go okay. So we want V2 98 to 02. That's it. Okay. So that's good. Then you want to go back. Then you want to go into settings. You want to make sure all these are off, which is good. Turbo timer off, EGT based. You don't want any of this on. Sensor warnings, you want everything off. So off, 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 off. Then you can go back. Custom tuning, default. Then you hit new. Name this one. We're going to call this one TJ, and then race tune. But let's call it max effort. And then you'll get an email from TJ, and it will have all the parameters that you load on here manually. Max effort tune. And then we can go save. Now you want to open this up. But hold on, let's go. We got to edit it. Custom tuning. Okay. Once you get into editing, you can see everything was at 0. So what we want to do is all this right here. You just go ahead and it will be kind of in the PDF that he sends over. It will be in the same order as this. You just enter your values and then you hit save and then you're good to go. And then we're just going to try that one out. This is full max effort versus stock. It'll be the biggest difference. The thing is, I don't know if it's going to break anything. We'll see, but that's what we're going to do. I'll get this uploaded and I'll show you afterwards. All right, so we got all those parameters added and set. So go in here to custom tuning, TJ Max, which is kind of funny, the store, but TJ Max Effort Tune. Just go into edit. Here's all the parameters that he had set for my build recipe. All right, here, these are entered directly into this this line item, but if you go into here, it'll bring up another screen. You just adjust these, or you can touch and manually enter them down here. And then you can just go save, or you can hit back. So everything's entered in here. It's hooked up to that one, and then you can go back. And then you did have to connect up, and I forgot to turn the Bluetooth on. So once you turn the Bluetooth on, it would scan, and then you just select Quadzilla, call it good. So right now it doesn't say connect to a Quadzilla. It actually has data logging, so you can data log the truck, which would be good. But if you go back here, we're on tune level 6, which is gonna be pretty fun. And you can go down, but we're gonna start it in a max effort tune. We're gonna see if it has any chop at idle. We're gonna leave this in here. And moment of truth in neutral. Let's see what she does. Well, it gave me a check engine light, so not sure what that is all about. But all right. Well, there it is.